least 11 reported dead overnight as that Hurricane I moved just 55 miles north of us here in Puerto Rico.
Video shows widespread destruction across the region. At least 10 people have died.
2017 hurricanes Maria and Irma devastated Puerto Rico. 6 months after that, our first contingency went to Puerto Rico. The biggest challenge that I faced on the trip was keeping my employees safe. There was a lot of unknowns. We'd never been to Puerto Rico, never been on a mutual assistance trip like this before. We were working with jungles and iguanas. We were working up mountain ranges and across mountaintops. We actually had to get a helicopter to come in and set poles. There were so many unknowns, and the fact that we had employees there doing this type of work, that was the hardest part of the whole job. To get there and get the power on and come home, it was actually quite a few, about 6 months worth of prep work. We had to load, I think it was 25 trucks onto a barge that left out of Baltimore Harbor that sailed to Puerto Rico. And during that time, there was a whale migration that actually held up the trucks. We had to get all of our employees figured out who they were, get their shots, get their emergency contacts, make sure that they were willing to go and wanted to go. And then we did 2 contingencies. One group went out earlier, and then my group went out later. And so overall, the planning started probably about 6 months prior. And then we, all together, I spent 7 weeks in Puerto Rico and then came back. So at the time, I was a supervisor of distribution. So I was there to make sure that our crews were working safely. They understood the tasks that we had. I went ahead of everybody and made sure that we got to the job site safely. Once we were on the job site, we knew what we were going to be doing for the day. I would get them working, and I would go look at the next few job sites that we had to make sure, we were working in a very safe but quick manner to get this service back on. Like I said, we had to go through a jungle and over top of a mountain and then across a mountain. It was 2,600 feet, I believe, mountaintop to mountaintop. So making sure the employees were safe, making sure we knew where we were going and what we were doing, and then explaining that to our employees of how we were going to get the service back on. The people were by far the nicest and most helpful and just great people. I have a couple of thoughts of when we got some people's power back on, being hugged a lot. The cheers. We had a whole neighborhood as we were putting on the power in the neighborhood, we had to do it in sections. And the cheers around the neighborhood when the power came back on, that was amazing. And then not only that, we had some families of employees that lived in Puerto Rico. And I got to meet some of them. And when we got their power back on, the gratitude and the thank you was amazing. I would do this again in a heartbeat. I would not think twice about it. This is something that I would definitely never even think twice about doing again. This is an amazing experience, not only for me, but for the people that we helped.